Okay, Hatboro Horsham. We're continuing with Chuck Berry here, and you've got this for that first part, and then that goes into, and then using the two boxes or in one box. So the next part might be a good idea to put lighter strings on your guitar because it's a bend here. It's the famous one of Chuck Berry's famous bends. And after this part, which is just the scale worked backwards, the A major pentatonic scale. And remember, this is a play between the major and minor pentatonic scale. Chuck Berry's entire arrangement here. So, because the next part goes, and it's a challenging. I won't say tricky. Tricky sounds tougher. So it's a challenging bend because you're going to take string 3 at fret 7 and bend that up to essentially to this E note on string 2 fret 5, and you get this little funky sound where it's not really quite the same note, and it's dun 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 dun. It's not dun 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 dun. It's, he does that 5 times. He goes, and then there's a little pause and goes back to, so those two parts, which are the same, go. Then he comes right back to this, and what I'm doing here again is I'm just bending string 3 fret 7 up to 2 frets away, and we're going to do that in the next video for you. I hope you have the concept that when I bend this note, I'm changing the note here, which happens to be a D note, string 3 fret 7, and I'm bending that up to an E note at string 3 fret 9. See, I'm doing a 2-note bend there, and it comes out. And why? Because this is an E note at string 2 fret 5, and it's an E note at string 3 fret 9 that I'm bending this string 3 fret 7 D note up to. Then he goes just a little push there. There's actually no right or wrong spot there because you can say he's bending that D into this blue note, or you can bend it up to the proper 5th note there in an A scale. But he goes, and then he comes down to string 1 fret 5, and then with his pinky, string 2 fret 8, string 2 fret 7, string 2 fret 5. So that's the notes I just called out. And then he continues, string 1 fret 7, string 1 fret 5, string 2 fret 8, string 2 fret 5. So far you have this. And then he continues up here to this D note, string 3 fret 7, to string 3 fret 5, which of course is, if this is D, that's a C note. So he goes from the beginning on that. Again, that's And I'm here now, and I hammer, or he hammers on, and I should say he hammers on in one of the 10,000 ways different ways he plays this. There's a number of ways that you can play this. I'm sure Chuck Berry, after all those years, it didn't play it the same way over the entire time period. But this is, a basic concept of what he's doing. And I picked this just to demonstrate that we're in the minor pentatonic and we're in the major pentatonic. And when we get to class and when we get together, we can go through all that stuff. So he goes. So he gets to this string 3, fret 5, and he hammers down to the major third. He's on a minor third here, and he hammers down to the major third, and then up to the root note, which is string 4, fret 7. That's an A note. So that goes. That's the whole run. And it's mixing major and minor modes there. And then he comes back and does the same thing up to a point. That little starting bend, string 1, fret 5, string 2, fret 8, string 2, fret 7, string 2, fret 5. That's what I just called out. And pretty soon you're going to find the cat in the video. Real Chuck Berry fan. And then you're going to come down to string 1, fret 7 again. So I've got, and what I play there is string 1, fret 7, string 1, fret 5, string 2, fret 8, string 2, fret 7. Should look familiar. And then string 2, fret 5. It's kind of, you can leave that in or leave it out and make it up, with what you do later. But then he does that little bend twice again. So I'm going, and then that's bending string 3, fret 7, and playing again string 2, fret 5. And then he comes to string 3, fret 7, and back to string 3, fret 5. Excuse me. And then same hammer on to the major third, and then to string 3. There's a number of ways you can play this, but for the moment, up to string 4, fret 5, and to string string 5, fret 7, which is an E note, and it actually leads to this chord, which we're going to get to in the next video. And you can just either end on that note or try to put that chord in, which is an E7th. And why is that an E7th? You can see this formation is a C. That's a C 7th. You can hear the 7th sound because of where my pinky finger is here. That's on the 7th, which is string 4, fret 3. Take that off and you have a nice major sound. So if I put that on, I've got a 7th sound. And what's really good about moving this chord is string 5, 4, 3, 2. They're all held. They all move together as a unit. So you can just deaden string 1 and string 6, which is pretty easy, and move this chord anywhere you want, which is really important in a 1-4-5 progression. And I'll show that in the next exercise that I'm going to give you. That I think is really illustrative of a lot of things. So I have a C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. So here's the E. So he's going at speed. That ends that little run. So all through it he goes, that's right, you need this part. Played sloppily, but I'm more concentrating on those individual sounds. And lose concentration on the full piece. But here's the cat in the video. Marco.
You might want to end it before he gets. Oh, okay, he's laying.
He's down. So anyway, that is the Chuck Berry, and this is Marco. Just loves Chuck Berry. Can't get enough of him. So very slowly you have this. Every time I slow that down, I get it wrong, but it's this at the end of that, and then you go to this E7th, and then then it goes. We're down in Louisiana, close to New Orleans, but back up on the hills among the evergreens, there stood an earth cabin with the earth and wood. Lived a country boy named Johnny Bigfoot who never understood the rhythm right so well. He could play guitar just like a ringing bell. Go, go. See, gets right back to that. Go, Johnny, go, go, go. And there's all that stuff that comes in. We'll do that in the next video. But right now, try to work your way through that, get that fingering down, that fingering juice, an awful lot of rock and roll, and it's just a really great, fun song to play. So I'm going to give you another video now on doing something else. So on this same 1-4-5, you really have to get the notion of that 1-4-5 chords and how important they are to virtually anything that you play in pop music. Okay. I'll see you soon.